Hi, this is Doug Bradley, Pinhead from the Hellraiser movies, and you're watching Groovey.TV. And you better keep watching Groovey.TV, or I'll tear your soul apart.
Hey, this is Groovy. I'm here with the legendary Doug Bradley of the Hellraiser series and a whole bunch of other amazing stuff, sir. How are you?
I'm very well. Very well. Yourself?
Oh, I'm doing awesome. This event has been so much fun.
Cool.
Yeah. So, what are you actually doing tonight? Are you with the Hellraiser shows?
Tonight, I am sitting here.
And I'm glad you are.
And that's it. I have nothing more to say. That's the dullest interview in the history of interviews. Tomorrow I will be sitting here and also introducing Hellraiser, I think. So, and I don't know whether that involves a Q&A. The honest answer is I'm not really sure what I'm doing, but I think it involves introducing Hellraiser at some point.
I believe so.
Because they're screening it here, and then on Sunday I'll be sitting here. And then I'll be sitting in the back of a car, and then sitting on an airplane.
What kind of airplane?
Sitting in, well, one with wings, I hope.
Hopefully, yes.
They help. And then I'll be sitting in the driver's seat of my car when I get back to Pittsburgh Airport. So generally the weekend is involving a lot of sitting. Sitting is what I do, basically.
I'm a big fan of sitting, actually.
Sitting's okay. It's good.
All right, so what are you working on these days? Got a new book and everything? What's happening?
Well, the book is not new, I have to say. It was originally published in, I think, 96.
Okay.
And then it was updated and republished a few years back, but it's still selling. People still want to buy it, so and I'm very proud of it. So.
Well, I mean, you are like the persona of one of the most loved, I guess, villains of all time.
I guess so. Yes, if you say so. Yes.
I don't know anyone who doesn't like Pinhead. They're like, oh no, not that.
No, I'm sure there must be some people, but they don't tend to come to my table. Hey, I just wanted to tell you, I think you're very boring. No.
Not after this interview.
I tend to hear the good stuff. I've been accused of being the greatest actor of all time. That's how deluded some of my fans are.
Well, I don't know the greatest, but you're definitely up there in my opinion.
I could give you a very, very long list before you'd even get down to me.
So what do you do? I mean, what are you into besides acting and horror? I mean, what do you do?
I watch movies. I'm a documentary hound as well.
Okay.
Music.
What kind of music do you like?
Oh, what do I not like? I'm a great disappointment to my fans because I'm not into heavy metal, black metal, thrash metal, heavy black thrash, horror, black thrash metal.
Grindcore, black.
Yes, in spite of my work with Cradle of Filth, I'm aware I'm a major disappointment to my fans. But, well, I mean, music has been a central part of my life for 50 years. You know, I was discovering pop music in Liverpool as the Beatles exploded. I mean, I think I was 8 when Love Me Do hit the charts. So, and I'm still listening. They are still the greatest band ever for me, but I'm still listening to new bands. I still go to gigs and listen obsessively to new stuff coming out and finding new bands. I mean, I have been a big fan of proper country music for as long as I think since first time I heard a boy named Sue.
Okay.
And I couldn't make sense of what I was hearing. I never heard anything like this before, and I was absolutely besotted with this voice. Mm-hmm. So Johnny Cash became a lifelong love.
And he's so amazing. I mean, is there any like new bands that you've heard that you'd like to
was just she's not so much new. The last gig I was at was a great country singer-songwriter called Mary Gauthier.
Okay.
I highly recommend her to anyone. Start with 2 of her songs. One is called I Drink, and one is called Drag Queens in Limousines. If you don't like those 2, leave it there. Mercy Now is another wonderful song. As a band I heard for the first time this year, just been to see them in Pittsburgh, called Mount Moriah, who are, I think, wonderful, and a band who had an album out last year. We saw them, Steph and I saw them in Pittsburgh, supporting another band that I've really got to like in recent years, called Doors. Or Dars, as I should say here, not to be confused with the Doors. Dars, D-A-W-E-S.
Okay.
They were supporting them. Brilliant band, I think, called Shovels and Rope. Highly recommend those to anyone who cares to listen. I've been a big fan of the Drive-By Truckers for many years, and I've just been getting into Jason Isbell's solo work. He left the Drive-By Truckers. Jason Isbell and the 400 unit.
You gotta love those guys, yeah.
And I'm also very excited because there's a new Arcade Fire coming out at the end of this month, and been a huge fan of them since my son turned me on to them when he found Funeral when that first came out.
Right.
But they're a magnificent band. I've seen them live twice. Almost impossible to get tickets for them now. They disappear in a heartbeat, you know. But
they're huge.
They're going to be doing a world tour next year, so hoping to get.
Keep those fingers crossed.
I've just heard the single Reflector, which I think is wonderful. Produced by James Murphy of LCD Sound System. Right. You can hear the influence, but I was a big LCD fan, so that's all fine by me. So I'm very excited to hear the new album. So,
nice.
So a whole range of stuff. You'll generally find me, I guess, at the indie end of the street. And I've always been a big fan of musicals and classical music too. So.
And what about movie-wise? What are you into movie-wise?
All kinds of stuff. We spend a lot of time watching bad horror movies. Okay. I love bad horror movies.
What are some of your favorites in the bad genre?
We just watched a movie on Netflix, and we were trying to decide whether this is the worst horror film, possibly the worst film we've ever seen, called Don't Go Into the Woods.
Oh,
Don't Go in the Woods.
I've seen it advertised, but I haven't watched it.
It's very bizarre. It seemed to be. It seemed to be not so bad to begin with. The setup is an indie rock band, and the leader of the band is taking his band into the woods to a place he used to go to as a kid to get inspiration to write new material. And when I read the synopsis, I thought, oh God, this is going to hit all the cliches, and it really wasn't. And they got into the place in the clearing, and he'd laid down the rules, which were no drugs, no booze, no girls. And then the girls turned up, surprise, surprise. And then it became a musical. And for the next hour, they sang songs. That's all that happened. All that happened. It's directed by Vince D'Onofrio. Who was dating Jennifer Aniston for a while, I think. And then in the last 10 minutes, they all die. And it is truly mind-bogglingly awful. But we have a category of movie that we call Awfultastic. Those are the movies that are so bad they're great.
Right.
This is just whoa.
This is Awfultastic.
Go to IMDb and read the reviews. But there was another movie, I think, called Don't Go Into the Woods. So don't confuse this is called Don't Go in the Woods.
Okay. Now, one last question. What would be your favorite Awfultastic movie then? Or at least a couple of them.
Oh, wow. Favorite Awfultastic movie? Steph?
He's calling in support. It's a game show all of a sudden. Lifeline.
Favorite Awfultastic movie? Or I've just been describing Don't Go in the Woods, but I've said that doesn't count as Awfultastic because there's nothing tastic about it. It's just terrible. No, Shrooms is just bad. Shrooms is not. I don't know.
The bed that keeps the bed that eats people.
So there's the Awfultastic recommendation, which I haven't seen. It's called Deathbed. We have to watch that. No, we have to. I have to. Okay.
It is incredible. Well, it's the bed that eats people. So
That eats people. Sweet. Okay. Well, I was in an Awfultastic movie, which was Killer Tongue.
I honestly have not seen that one.
That is off so many walls. It's impossible to. I mean, whenever it comes up, as it does occasionally in Q&As, I always have to point out that it's not a porno movie, in spite of what the title might suggest. Robert Englund was in it with me.
Really?
It's completely insane. Yes.
Killer Tongue.
Yes.
Should see Killer Tongue and Deathbed double feature.
Yes, it was. We actually made it in Spain, so it's actually called La Lengua Asesina, which sounds so much better, I think.
So much better. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Hey, this is Groovy. I'm here with the legendary Doug Bradley of Hellraiser and Pinhead fame here at the Mile High Horror Film Festival, Denver, Colorado. Bye.